Yay Networks.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to In the Cards and Stars. I'm your host, Britt. And today we are going to be talking about the buzz that has really just been on everybody's lips. I feel like every time I look at anything astrology, we hear about Pluto going into Aquarius January 20th. So I'm going to give you guys my take on this transit. It is a really important transit. It's super transformative and it's going to affect every single one of us. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to look at Dolly Parton's birth chart because it is her birthday this week. She is turning 78 years young. Happy birthday, Dolly. And I think that she's also been an amazing force of transformation. Even though she's right on that cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius, I think she has a lot of Aquarius energy. So we're going to talk about her birth chart and kind of how she's just become so iconic based on a lot of these planetary placements that have really given her a little bit of extra magic. So without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, and by the way, you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, this setup is a little bit different than usual because I am with my husband, Michael, in New York City. We're celebrating our third wedding anniversary, and we came here to do a little shopping, have some fun. We're going to go to Catch tomorrow night on our actual anniversary, so I'm excited about that. I got a nice little dress to wear, and we're also going to go see the Drew Barrymore show, which I'm so excited about. I will report back and I will do her birth chart. So if you guys hear anything that sounds a little bit annoying, please bear with me. We definitely have a lot going on right outside our window. Our window faces Central Park South. So it's a little noisy, but we're going to do what we can because we've got to talk about this major transit. Okay, let's talk about it. I have heard so many different things about Pluto moving into Aquarius, and I'm sure that you guys have too. If you've looked up this transit, it can just be super confusing. And the reason that it can be so confusing is because nobody really knows. No one really knows what's going to happen. What we do know is what happened in the past when this transit has occurred. And one of the main things that a lot of people bring up when we're talking about Pluto moving into Aquarius is the American Revolution that happened during Pluto in Aquarius. So this transit lasts for 20 years, though. And this is not going to be something that just like really dramatically shakes up your life. I mean, I spent some time on TikTok earlier today and I was just like, oh my gosh, this would spook anybody out, you know? And there are a lot of great astrologers on TikTok, but there are some messages out there that are just a little bit scary, right? And I don't think that this is going to be scary at all. I think that this is part of our evolution as a human race. I also have Aquarius rising. So I feel like I kind of feel this energy already. You know what I mean? I'm kind of getting a vibe. Let's talk about the most recent transit that we've had because we have experienced the transit of Pluto in Aquarius very, very briefly. So March 23rd, Pluto entered Aquarius and it remained there until it retrograded back into the sign of Capricorn on June 11th of 2023. Now, something that I thought was really, really interesting about this swift period of Pluto giving us just a little bit of taste of what Aquarius energy was going to be like for us. Well, the TikTok trials, you guys remember that, that actually occurred March 24th, one day after Pluto went into Aquarius. I mean, are you kidding me? Astrology in the wild moment. So that is one of the themes of Aquarius. People are talking about how AI is really going to take hold and we're going to have to worry about if AI is going to take over and like all of these things, all these scary things, right? And there have been a lot of movies made about it. And what I'll say about that is that something can be extremely good. Something can also be extremely negative. It just depends on whose hands these technologies fall into. And the good thing about this transit is that it's also associated with power to the people. So this is not occurring while Pluto is in Capricorn. We're wrapping that up. And we've seen what's happened while Pluto has been in Capricorn. So just to recap that for everybody, we have had power structures broken down. There has been information and just realizations that we've all had like collectively about improvements that need to be made with the healthcare system, with, what's going on with like animals in our country and animal shelters being overrun. I've personally just discovered that literally like a month ago. And I don't think that it's any coincidence that it's right before this Pluto moving into Aquarius, because kind of at the tail end of Pluto and Capricorn, we're all experiencing little wake up calls, little realizations. It's like the very last bit of everything that needs to come to light that's associated with Capricorn themes of power, of the few having, and the many lacking. If we think back to the American Revolution, my husband and I saw Hamilton not too long ago here in New York. First of all, we love it. I've like bought all the Hamilton merch because that's how much I love the story, and it just like speaks to my soul, and I know Michael too. And the story of Hamilton is really about Americans, people who felt like they were oppressed. I would say in this story, Pluto and Capricorn would be the British monarchy that was like holding down the American people. And so at that period in history, people woke up and they took their power back. They realized that they have rights, that they have a right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And so what they did, they took that Pluto and Aquarius transit and they created this country that we have now. And countries, just like people, go through these periods where, we have a high point and then maybe we need to clean some stuff up. And that's the way I'm looking at Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto and Aquarius is going to give us the power as a collective to clean things up. So, our responsibility during this transit is number one, not to be scared. And if watching those videos on TikTok and going on YouTube or reading the articles is freaking you out, it was freaking me out. I'll be honest. That's why I was like, I need to research this and we need to talk about it here on In the Cards and Stars because it can be scary. Like, there are a lot of messages about like, oh, this is going to happen, it'll be a dystopian society. I don't think that at all. I think that it's our responsibility to be grounded, to not be afraid. But what we can do is look at the things that have been bothering us. Like, what have you noticed in your community that you feel you can change? Like I said, I've been noticing that animals and animal shelters, they need more care, they need more protection. So, who can we help? How can we come together? Where are you being called? Another layer of this is to look at where Aquarius is in your birth chart. Which house is ruled by the planet Aquarius or ruled by the zodiac sign Aquarius? Because this is going to describe your special gift that you're going to be able to bring to the world, to the collective during this time period. So when Pluto enters a zodiac sign, it brings revolution, but it also brings power, personal power. I think that the misconception about Pluto is that it's very destructive. And the only reason that I think Pluto ever becomes destructive, that's just because we need it to be destructive. If you don't need Pluto to be destructive, if you're already embracing change, if you're already opening your heart, if you're already looking for ways that you can help, Pluto is not going to need to bring you any karma to help you to see. So I think the way that you can get ahead of this transit is to just open your heart and look for ways that you can help, things that you can change. This is such a good time to like join communities, get into AI, learn more about technology. We are going to be having this really exciting time of being able to make changes that are positive for the world. We're going to have a time where we're going to have new technologies. So, speaking of that previous little taste that we had of Pluto in Aquarius, not only did we see the TikTok trials and we started to become more aware of like how technology is infiltrating our daily lives. We started to evaluate, is this really good for us? Is it not good for us? So we can see how Pluto, that's shaking things up a little bit, but we need to know. We need to understand that, right? That's important for us. Pluto doesn't just destroy to destroy. Pluto brings karma and karmic rewards as well if you have, like I said, an open heart and you're willing to see truth, which I think we all are here. So all right, back to it. So from January 20th, 2024, Pluto will be in Aquarius. So when you're listening to this, here we go. Get ready to embrace the change. And then we're going to have one final period where Pluto is going to retrograde back into Capricorn from September 1st all the way through November 19th, 2024, when Pluto finally comes back to Aquarius to settle in for good for a 20-year transit. Now, let's notice one little angel number thing about when Pluto enters into Aquarius for that long stay. November 19th, if we look at the numbers, November, an 11 month, 19, 9 plus 1 is 1. So this is a 111 day. Now, I talk about 111 all the time. I wear my 111 on my wrist. 111 is the angel number associated with positive change, being your highest self, and it's associated with empowering ourselves to really be what we believe is loving, healthy, helpful. It's taking all of our values and we're able to bring them to the surface. So I actually think this is going to be an amazing period of time. The only people that aren't going to like it are the people who were thriving while Pluto was in Capricorn, the people who like to have power over others. We've already been seeing things like, Epstein and all of these names being released. It's like, we're done. As a collective, we're done. We're tired of it. So trust me, if you have been nervous, I have gotten some DMs about, hey, will you cover Pluto and Aquarius? Just trust me when I tell you, we've already seen it. Like the negative things that have been going on, they've been going on. So I don't personally believe anything is going to be shocking us. I think now we're finally going to have an opportunity to communicate with each other about it. Aquarius, the collective, brotherhood, sisterhood, and we're going to be able to make some changes. So I'm excited. I believe in us. I believe in you. So let's embrace it. Let's embrace the Aquarius energy of love, happiness, and feeling powerful. Pluto will give you gifts in the area of your birth chart where you have Aquarius. So, for example, if you have Aquarius in your first house, that's where I have mine, Pluto will empower first housers to be more of their true self. Second house, you'll be empowered around your finances. Also, you may be someone who starts to figure out how you can change the system a little bit when it comes to finance. You'll see that you're inspired in different ways. Third house, communication. Fourth house, family. Your family unit may expand to include more people, or you may decide that your family is going to operate in a way that's a little bit different, more in alignment with your values, which will then offer an example for others to also be inspired to live their truth. We'll see how it all comes through. Fifth house, you'll be empowered through your creativity. Sixth house, your day to day life, your health and wellness habits. You may discover something new about taking care of your health or maybe your time management. Seventh house, your relationships are going to undergo a big change. Maybe you will partner with people that are going to help you do something positive for the world. Eighth house, this is money, contracts. You may also be helping to change the way we look at finances, or maybe just your own finances are going to undergo a revolution. Ninth, this will be travel. You'll find yourself connecting with people more easily from all across the globe. 10th, your career. You're going to be somebody who is shining and really empowering yourself to live an authentic life publicly and through your career. 11th house, technology. You may be one of the people changing the world through technology, or you may just find that you really start to get on board with some new technology that may not even be invented at the time of this recording. 12th, you will find that the way that your subconscious operates will change. Your beliefs may change, your values. You may even become a little bit psychic. You may be the one spilling the tarot tea this time next year. So it's going to be exciting. Again, we have been through this so many times as a collective. Pluto's always going to be somewhere. So don't let it freak you out. Let it empower you. Learn more about that Aquarius placement that you have in your birth chart so that you can really lean into it when Pluto gives you a little extra power, a little extra push in that part of your chart. All right, after this break, we are going to look at Dolly Parton's birth chart because we just love her. Well, happy birthday, Dolly Parton. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see that I'm wearing my Dolly Parton sweatshirt. This is the Empress sweatshirt. I got it off of Etsy. It is one of my prized possessions. And yes, it is Dolly Parton as the Empress. Love her, love everything about her. And I was like, we can't let this week go without looking at Dolly's birth chart. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. Okay, so here is what is going on with Dolly's chart. She's a superstar. She's a humanitarian, a philanthropist. She is a style icon, and she knows how to get her hair closer to God. Am I right? Okay, so let's talk about Dolly. So Dolly will be turning 78 years young on January 19th. Now, 19 is really interesting though, because it's known as a karmic number. There are a few karmic numbers. Coincidentally, Taylor Swift was also born on a karmic number 13. Karmic numbers have to do with someone's personality that has like two opposing sides to it. So if we look at Dolly's birthday of 19, it's 1 and 9. So the beginning and the end. 9 is all about the collective, the end. It is the number that has been through all other numbers, the number of the old soul. 1 is the number of the independent person, the trailblazer, the fire starter. So when you have both of those as a number 19, as a karmic number, much has been entrusted to you. And the reason these numbers are karmic is because it has to do with past life energies. We talked about past life astrology in the last episode, which was very interesting. It was fun to dive into that. And we all have a little bit of karma associated with our birthdays, but a karmic number in particular is here to work out the difference between the two energies. Because, like I said, a 1 and a 9, they are very different, but they can go together quite nicely. You just have to find the balance. So, for Dolly, one of the biggest things that she's had to do in her life is find the balance between being me, that 1, being an independent person, being an original, and 9, being there for the people, for the collective, caring about her fans, her friends. And I think she's done that quite nicely. At the age of 78, we can really look at her life and see how she has truly balanced that karmic number, which I think is really cool. So when you take 1 and 9, you add them together, that is a 1 energy overall. So she was born January 1, and a 1 energy, and then 19, a 1 energy. I don't know, could it be the 11? I'm telling you, I love everything 111, and she definitely tapped into that vibe a little bit. So let's look at her chart. Now, Dolly's birth chart is a little bit surprising, and here's why. She has so much Capricorn energy, so much Earth sign energy. I expected to see, like, before I ever read her birth chart, I was thinking, okay, she's probably going to be like Libra. Maybe she's going to have some Aquarius because her look is a little bit offbeat. I was just thinking like all these wild placements, Sagittarius. No, okay. She is a walking paradox. So she has her sun in Capricorn, her moon in Virgo, and her ascendant is also Virgo. So, one thing I will say about this that does make a lot of sense just at first glance is the fact that this talks about how she's the type of person that she really is who she says she is. What you see is what you get because she's a triple earth in her big three. So, when you first meet her, she has Virgo energy. Virgo energy is the healer. Virgo energy is friendly. Also, a lot of Virgo energies go through a period of time at some point in their life where they feel like the ugly duckling, they feel rejected, and they're a little bit of the underdog. Look at any of your Virgo friends. I have a Virgo son, went through it. Look at any of your Virgo friends. Like you'll see that this is a pattern. So for her, she has talked about growing up, she grew up kind of out in the middle of nowhere. She didn't have a lot of money. And her childhood, it was rough. It wasn't like it was a cushy childhood. She had a lot of love. She's talked about this. She had a lot of love, a lot of music, a lot of positive things in her life, but she never felt like the beautiful one. She didn't feel like this glamorous person. She is an invention of her own mind. And what does Capricorn do? Capricorn builds. Capricorn also is the sign that experiences more fun later in life. Capricorn has to work very, very hard to get whatever it is that they want. It is the goat climbing up that mountain. And that is Dolly, 100%. She likes to have fun with things. She doesn't take it super seriously. It's a part of an act. I think she is very much herself, but I think the what she has like built on the outside, that was very much to make herself stand out. That was very much to create a certain look, to achieve something. That is very Capricorn of her. So it makes more sense when you look at like the deeper themes in her life. All right, so that Sun in Capricorn, true businesswoman. This is why she is so wealthy, but also she doesn't ever talk about just how wealthy she is. I feel like she's very undercover, like very stealth about it. I also feel like, speaking of the Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto in Aquarius, all of that stuff we just discussed earlier, she's a perfect example of how when Pluto was in Capricorn, she was thriving, right? She was totally thriving. And now that Pluto is leaving Capricorn to go into Aquarius, when a lot of people who abuse their power while Pluto was in Capricorn, right about now, they're starting to be exposed, falling out of power, all of that stuff. This is like kind of the last little period of exposure for those people. She is continuing to thrive because she has been kind, she's been benevolent, she has not abused her power. So, as we can see, Pluto treats us the way we treat Pluto and the way we treat each other, really. So, just a little side note there. But her sun is in Capricorn, making her a true businesswoman. She has even spoken about how at one point Elvis approached her and wanted to do her song, I Will Always Love You. And his manager at the time, who, if you guys saw the movie, you know what a skis he was, he wanted to have like the rights, like the royalty rights, something about the legalities of it. And Dolly wouldn't have what she thought was correct. She wouldn't have whichever rights were associated with the song that she felt was what she deserved as the songwriter. And so she turned it down. And that is the most Capricorn thing I've ever heard in my life. Business person to the core. Well, then later on, wouldn't you know, she was rewarded when Whitney Houston approached her. And she's, of course, the one that made I Will Always Love You famous. And Dolly made so much money. Like, I was just going to say, so much money from that song. And she didn't compromise because Whitney and her team were willing to enter a fair deal. So there you go. Sticking to your guns. She definitely shows that upside of Capricorn and what happens when you do continue to work hard, stick to your guns, and you have integrity. Okay, Virgo moon. I love the fact that her rising sign is the same as her moon sign because, again, that is the who I am on the outside, who I present myself to be is who I really am. She's not the type of person that, people say, like, don't ever meet your idols because they'll disappoint you. She's the type of person, if you meet your idol, she's going to be that way on the inside as well. There are not complicated layers to her. She's a complex person, but she is not at war with herself. She is triple earth, is who she says she is, strong-minded human being, and someone that truly is nurturing to the core. Virgo is that healer, but Virgo heals through figuring things out and trying to find a system to put in place to help others. So we can see that she's done that through her charity work throughout the years. She really has fully embraced this Virgo moon placement, Virgo ascendant placement. Okay, moving on. Her Mars is in Cancer. Now, we have heard the song Jolene, haven't we? And I just think that is so so indicative of a Mars in Cancer placement. So when Mars is in a water sign, Mars is like passion, it's fiery, it's also our anger. When Mars is in a water sign, it won't be these people typically, I mean, in rare instances, like, I don't, there's always an outlier, but typically someone with their Mars in a water sign is not going to act in a way that is directly aggressive, especially towards someone that they love. Cancer is associated with like nurturing, love, taking care of other people. It's a sign of like the mother, the father. So having Mars there, when a Cancer Mars person gets angry or Dolly in the song Jolene, she was concerned about being cheated on. So rather than a revenge ballad or something that was more outwardly aggressive or angry, she actually sang to the woman about like, please don't take my man. Now, we're not here to judge anybody. Hey, how people feel is their business. But I'm just saying, wow, astrology in the wild. That is a perfect example of how a Mars in Cancer handles the feelings of anger. They are more willing to talk it out. They usually feel more hurt than anger. So, just food for thought. Very interesting. Jupiter is in Libra. Now, when people have their Jupiter in Libra, they have luck with relationships. Dolly's been married to the same person for almost her whole life. I mean, since she was a young woman. So lucky in relationships. Also, she's attracted a lot of very, beneficial business partnerships to her throughout the years. Libra energy makes somebody very good at being, well spoken, kind, harmonious. They tend to have a lot of really positive relationships in their life. And like I said, Jupiter, whatever it touches, brings luck. So she's had luck in relationships of all sorts throughout her life. Love that. That definitely checks out. Also, side note, when she first became famous, this was through going on a television show, The Porter Wagner Show. And this was when she was about 21 years old. She went on this show, and that's what really put her on the map. And she was on the show for several years, and then she finally had to leave that show because the person who was in charge, wonder what his zodiac sign is, he really didn't want her to grow. She was kind of playing second fiddle, and she realized she needed to own her power. It's giving Pluto energy and step into her own spotlight, her own world, her own career that she was going to create for herself. It was like, this is great, but it's time for me to go from, being in the shadows, being second fiddle to being the star, being my own person. She had her own light that she needed to shine. And that was really difficult for her to honor. If you've ever seen any of her documentaries, like, so good, so good. That whole saga, that whole part of her life, she really had to find her inner strength. And if we look at where her Chiron is, it's also in Libra. So she's had luck in relationships, but it's been a double-sided coin. She's also had Chiron there, her biggest pains. Jolene, and then having to leave the Porter Wagner show, which inspired I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. And we're back at the Jupiter in Libra. So for her, relationships have definitely been lucky, but then there's been this mixed bag of Chiron learning a lot about yourself and a lot about life through relationships. Relationships have been her vehicle of learning and life lessons, and a lot of really great songs have come from that learning. Wherever your Chiron is, that is what the universe uses to help you grow, teach you your life lessons, all that stuff. So look at your birth chart, you'll know what I mean. All right. Also, she has her Pluto in Leo, and Pluto's a generational planet, but still, we see that Pluto in Leo is all about creating change and changing the world through Leo tendencies. So she is in the spotlight. And I definitely think that she has leaned in to the Pluto in Leo in order to create more positive change. Leo's generous. Leo is Leo encourages other people to shine, but also shines as well. So I think that she's definitely done that. We also have her North Node in Gemini, which is why she's been able to like pull off so many different things in her life. Dolly has a theme park, she's been a singer, she has worn all kinds of different outfits. She has gone from country music to, kind of a different sound that was a little bit more pop. Now she's doing a new album called Rockstar that she just released. She is a woman who can wear many, many hats, a philanthropist. Gemini is all about wearing many, many hats. Wherever you have Gemini in your birth chart, you'll probably find that you have many varied experiences in that part of your life. With this being her North Node, she is meant to experience a lot of different things, wear many hats, but also be among the people, be out, you know, in the crowd, be with people, talk to them, communicate. We talked about this last week in the episode with Olivia Rodrigo, who has the same exact placement of North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. So it will be interesting to see how Olivia Rodrigo continues to change as well as she matures. We'll see her, I think, come more into the public eye and, be less. We'll see her holding back less and speaking her truth more. I'll say that. And Dolly has definitely spoken a lot of her truth and has some great quotes out there. Yeah, just love her. She has her midheaven in Taurus, meaning the way that people see her is luxury, wealth, also stable, solid, unchanging. She has an ability to create something that stays, that is long lasting. Taurus is the bull. Taurus isn't going to change. If you have any Taurus placements or people in your life, my husband Michael has Taurus ascendant. I tease him about it all the time because once he makes his mind up about something, it is just not going to change unless you have like a really good argument. Like, nah, he just said no. If you guys heard him, or he's in the hotel room too. Oh my God, guys, pray for me. No, I'm kidding. But Taurus is also very fair. And the only reason that Taurus ever decides something is because they truly believe in it. They've looked at all the different evidence, all the different reasons, and they've come to this one conclusion, which is why they don't change. It's not just pure stubbornness. And with Dolly, she's tried on many different personas. I mean, if you look at her style throughout the years, if you look at just the different ways that she's participated in life, in career, from touring to being on a TV show. She has done a lot of different things, but she's always stayed consistent with who she is, how she feels about life, her kindness, the way she shows up in the world. And that's her midheaven. The way that we see her, the way that she presents herself to the public is consistent, even though she's experienced all these different things. So I think she's really a great example of someone who has combined their North Node with their midheaven beautifully. And you may be interested to look at your own birth chart and see how your North Node and your midheaven blend. I think it's a really interesting thing to look at because our midheaven is like who we are like in this incarnation. It's like our job here on earth. I say our job like that because it's like, our career right now. And the North Node is like our sole purpose, right? So you can see how you really can like marry them together in a way that helps you to keep yourself grounded in what you're supposed to accomplish here while also reaching higher. You're reaching towards that North Node. The North Node gives you the inspiration and like the mode of getting somewhere higher, being your highest self. You know what I mean? All right. Well, you guys, I'm going to leave it at that. That was fun. I love talking about Dolly. Anytime I can talk about Dolly, I'm going to do it. So, you guys, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. I hope you had fun and I hope you get excited about Pluto and Aquarius. I promise, 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 it is not this scary thing. And we're going to do it together and we're going to love it. It's going to be good. Okay. So, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Please leave a review if you would like to leave a review. I would just love it. It would mean the world to me to hear what you guys think of the podcast over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And I will see you guys next week with another all new episode. Take care.
Yay Networks.